Hey everybody, this is John Solomon from Cyber Club London. We're a loosely knit group of investors in cybersecurity startups, preferably early stage, but not only. And this is the latest in our video series showcasing the portfolio companies that we support. This is a particular favorite of mine. I'd like you to welcome Udi Cohen from Vendict, an Israeli startup that's focused on basically automating, filling out particularly information security relevant, but not only forms. Easing the workload on companies that are increasingly burdened with regulatory, cyber risk, and general risk management compliance, but also things like supplier management compliance, requirements from their own customers as suppliers and vice versa. So maybe, Udi, if you want to give a quick introduction of yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization and why it's great.
Thank you so much, John, for having me here. I'm so happy and also for your vote of confidence in CCL. It's super, we really like to be part of this club. So my name is Udi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Vendict, and we are using AI linguistic model to help with security compliance. Now everyone knows about ChatGPT. So we are using the same kind of technology, but we developed proprietary models to specifically focus on the kind of language of security compliance. As many of you know, this is a combination of security, but also technology, legal, compliance. Not the easiest language for humans, but for AI, it's kind of specific, and we are pretty effective in understanding that.
Excellent. So I think when you mentioned ChatGPT, you guys are using NLP, but unlike ChatGPT, yours actually works. So I think this is a really interesting field, given the increasing burden on a lot of organizations that are having to do a huge amount of questionnaires. And, on your website, I love the quote. I love filling out security questionnaires. Said nobody ever. This is for me, this is one of the big attractions, and I'm a bit surprised that, especially given AI's capability to meet this requirement, that nobody has really credibly tackled this problem before, given the incredible amount of workload that especially large firms have in this area. So can you tell us, one of the reasons I really like Vendict is that you guys actually come from an AI background, and so you have a good amount of expertise in this, but you also know the GRC field. So can you tell us a little bit about where you came from, how this idea evolved, and how it's going right now?
Yeah, definitely. So my partner a very strong security background, and I have the AI background, and I also like NLP. I also have some security background, and Michael, they also have AI, but both of us understand the pain and understand the technology. Actually, what we planned to start with was more about the other side of vendor risk management, verifying vendors. But when we started speaking with CISOs, we kept hearing about the pain of filling those questionnaires, and people are so frustrated of that, and because they feel that they do the same work again and again. And many people actually said we've quitted our previous job because of those security questionnaires. It's so frustrating.
I'm laughing because I've spent a lot of time on this, so it is bitterly funny to me what you're saying.
Yeah, and there are some large companies in which you can find a team of 15 employees responding to questionnaires, and there is a very strong, very large attrition problem in those kind of teams. So we hear the frustration. We've heard the frustration and decided to start with this area. But we are also thinking in the future to solve more use cases, because even if you think about the entire security compliance and risk management area, this is mainly about understanding documentation, right? You need to understand new regulation. You need to be able to read the SOC 2 report of your vendors. You need to assess a lot of information in large companies. There is a lot of information about your internal processes that you need to evaluate all the time and compare it to to the most up-to-date regulation and to the best practices in your industry. So it's a constant work that it's around documentation and text. This is why we believe that with AI, linguistic AI, that is specific to this domain, we can do a lot of good in this area.
I think just in terms of workload, one of my most intense risk assessments ever was with a hosting provider, where it was clear that they basically had a very, very streamlined process and a huge amount of material that they provided to every one of their clients. And there was this huge mill that you went through with about 5 or 6 different people. And I mean, that basically wasted 2 days of a risk assessor's time, as well as several hours of staff that could be doing more productive things. So this is, you know, from my point of view, again, there's a reason I'm really enthusiastic about this. Now, I can see a lot of potential for this beyond just the risk assessments, even though, you know, especially with the growth of cyber risk insurance and regulatory requirements in the EU with things like DORA and NIS2 on supply chain risk management, you know, things like, for example, responding to RFPs, what have you, or general, you know, form filling out. Do you have any plans in that area, or what do you see as the potential of this to grow?
Yeah, I must say that we have our plans and the potential and the things we can do is like much more than we can actually do with our current resources. So it's always to think about the best option and the most value-adding, because there are a lot of problems that can be solved with linguistic AI in this area, and you mentioned some of the most painful ones. I mean, for insurance, the insurance problem today, it's and also regulation. I mean, when you speak with CISOs, how would they verify their vendors? It's not nearly as much as they verify themselves. Okay, it's in completely different level. If most companies invest 90% of the resources on verifying their own risk, and only 10% verifying their vendor risk. But most of the problems are due to vendor. Most data breaches, most ransomware attack are related to the supply chain. And this makes a lot of sense because every company have tens or hundreds of critical vendors that they have for example, the customer information. So there is a much higher chance that one of the vendors will cause the problem, will be the root cause of the problem. But you cannot, with today's tool, you cannot really evaluate your vendors. I hear it all the time because this is just too much work. And we believe that with the right AI capabilities, it would be more feasible to verify the vendor.
And on the topic of, cyber risk insurance, also, this is a place, where regulation doesn't even hit, for example, a lot of the smaller organizations or mid-sized organizations that aren't heavily regulated and that definitely don't have the kind of capability, or resource to hire a bunch of people to sit around and fill out forms. So yeah, again, I think the commercial potential of this is enormous. And it's good to see that, despite all the buzzwords and noise about AI, this is actually a very, very concrete application, being applied by experts in the field who know what they're talking about with a true and real commercial purpose and value. So yeah, thank you very much for that introduction, that overview. I'd like to thank everybody who's watching this, and I encourage you to visit Vendict at vendict.com. have a look at CCL at cyberclub.london. I'll link to all the relevant information as well as some of the regulatory requirements and analyses that we're talking about in the video description. Udi, thank you very much, and I hope to talk to you soon. And I wish you a great amount of success, not only as an investor, but as somebody topic as well.
Thank you so much.